Welcome to PALCS video series Winging It.
My name's Sarah.
And I'm Zealand.
And we're sitting down with PALCS staff, students, and alumni to learn more from and about the PALCS community.
And we're here to answer your questions, provide you with fun announcements, and dig deeper with the people that make PALCS possible. Today, we're interviewing a few of PALCS' amazing women staff members to talk about the women that inspire them to help us celebrate Women's History Month.
Let's get into it.
Courtney, welcome to Winging It. We're here this month talking about amazing women that inspire us, basically just celebrating National Women's History Month. You are Courtney Kofelt, the amazing supervisor of educational technology. Who is your inspiring, most wonderful woman that you will share with us today?
I would say it is my mom and also my sister. Both have been such a big influence on my life. There have been great women throughout history that have inspired me, but the ones that have made the biggest impact are definitely my mom and sister.
So what are their names, and tell us a little bit about them?
So my mom, Marian Kofelt, she was a elementary teacher and also an avid basketball coach. She has inspired so many women to pursue their goals and kind of break glass ceilings across time. And her players continually still contact her. And it was just something that inspired me to pursue the field of education. And also I did coach for a little bit prior to my supervisor role. And it's something that I eventually will get back into because I think it's important for women to coach women and build them up in the sport field as well. And then my sister, Kelly Whetstone, she was a huge role model to me, being 10 years older than me growing up. And she went into a field that not many women go into, mechanical engineering. And she has worked with Ford since she was 18 years old. And just seeing that growing up and seeing a woman join a field that not many enter into was just so inspiring to me. And I definitely was inspired joining PALCS to pursue educational technology and connect with our students even more. But she's certainly my best friend, and having our kids see each other on a regular basis has been awesome.
And are your kids similar in age?
So my daughter, when she is about a year and a half now, and my nephew is 4 and my niece is 6.
Yeah. So they're going to be pretty darn close growing up. And
yeah.
It seems like a lot now, but then once they just kind of hit like the teenage years, it'll be like nothing.
The 3 of them together, it's so fun to see how they just have so much fun. And
that's fantastic.
My daughter's nursery theme is Great Women in History. So we have a bunch of posters of Amelia Earhart, Serena Williams.
Yes. Thank you so much, Courtney. So Carrie, thank you so much for joining us on Winging It. We're here to talk about the wonderful women of our lives that impact us, that influence us. So what woman or women would you like to talk about and tell us about that inspire you?
Sure. Well, thanks for having me. Super excited to talk with you guys today, and obviously excited to celebrate women. When I was thinking about this, the first person, the obvious person that just came to my mind was my mom. And I know that people hear that a lot, and I'm sure I might not be the only one to say that, but for me, it was her specifically. When I was 8 years old, she was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. And so since the age of 8, I have watched her go through that journey and become an advocate for MS, to overcome so many challenges. And it always made me think to myself, like, if she can do it, like, I have no excuses.
Oh.
That is so cool. So what's your mom's name and where is she?
My mom's name is Judy Fogel. I was born in Chambersburg, so South Central Pennsylvania. So both her and my dad are still in Chambersburg.
That's amazing. And your mom was diagnosed with MS when you were 8 years old?
Yes. So pretty much my entire everything I remember. I remember a little bit obviously before that. So I kind of watched her go through that, the different phases of walking and then struggling to walk and to eventually now just, being wheelchair bound for most of the time, but never giving up. Like I said, just continually trying to raise awareness, raise money, do walks, campaigns. She's just continually still to this day, volunteer, obviously, not right now as much, but volunteering in her neighborhood and her local church and just always somebody I've heard so many times in my life, like, well, how can I say no? Like, if she can do it, then I can do it.
That's amazing. So, what is something in your life that has been one of those biggest aha moments for you where maybe you were feeling a little defeated or a little intimidated and your mom was just like, come on, you got this?
Oh my gosh, there are so many of those moments. I can't think of like one particular one, but I remember a point in my life where it kind of like clicked with me, and I would hear so many people complain or, oh, I don't want to do this. It's too much work. It's too hard. And I just thought it's so easy for us to just look at everyday life or just situations, or I don't want to go over and above, or I don't want to do this. And when I would, even in high school or college and still to this day, when I'd go home and I'd see my mom working full time and still doing her doctor's visits and her therapy and, whether she was in a wheelchair or she was still walking, it was like she was still doing it and she wasn't complaining. And it always put my complaining in check. And, obviously we all have down days, but whenever I would see her, it was just a constant inspiration to me. And to so many around her. Even my dad was diagnosed with multiple myeloma, blood cancer a few years ago, and I watched her stand right beside him and become, everything that he needed through that. So again, just someone when I look at, I just see strength and just this tenacity that she's never gives up, and she doesn't really complain about it either. So
She sounds amazing.
thank you.
100%. And I think it's so important to have people in your lives that give you some perspective outside of yourself, because I think it's so easy for us to get wrapped up in what our own experience of our life is. So something might seem hard, but sometimes then when you're given that extra perspective and just to be like, oh, hey, like you actually have it a lot easier than someone else, it doesn't mean that you're not encountering a challenge or going through something that's difficult for you. Having the added perspective of like, oh yeah, I can reach outside of myself and find that strength or meet that challenge, I think is just the most helpful and the most inspiring.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
Thank you so much, Carrie, and thank you for
Thank
sharing
you.
that with us, and thank you for helping us to celebrate the wonderful woman of our lives and National Women's History Month. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you for joining us, Whitney. Who would you like to tell us about today?
So I couldn't narrow it down to one person. There have been a bunch of women in my life that have kind of helped form me and shape me to be the woman that I am. So my mother, my Aunt Marva, Mrs. Price, Miss Hackley, these were women that are educators in my hometown back home. My mother is a retired teacher, and seeing her as not just my mom, but like this phenomenal woman. But there are several women that have played like very instrumental roles in me, in my development, my professional development, my personal development and growth. The reason why I loved history and became a history teacher, I had a Black history teacher at each level. And, there's research that says that Black students do best or do really well when they have teachers of color. And it kind of, I think, when I think tie it back to my own personal experience, those women really mean the world to me and clearly shaped my trajectory into education. I was a history teacher and an administrator now.
So you think that having these influential teachers really helped make you want to become a history teacher?
It definitely did. It sparked my interest in, one, just learning about myself, but then just as a Black girl, but then even going beyond and learning about other groups and like how I can influence other people and just make my own mark.
So, as a woman yourself and a very accomplished and inspiring woman that has been through such a journey already with your personal and professional career, what would you say is one little nugget of advice or inspiration or motivation that you would like to share with women students of our school, the women staff of our school, and just the women around us in general?
That's a really good question. I would say believe in yourself and truly believe in yourself. Because there's going to be times where you may doubt yourself. There are going to be times where people around you are going to doubt you. But if your foundation is knowing like who you are and believing that you can, you will always be able to come back to that when there's moments of uncertainty or when there are people around you who are questioning you or don't necessarily believe in you quite yet, or you have to kind of show that you can do it. But there's always that little seed that you can pull from when you really work on that ability to truly like believe in your abilities.
I
That
love
was a
that.
wonderful answer.
Yeah.
I'm inspired.
Oh, good.
Well,
Good,
thank you
good.
so much for sharing with us, and thank you so much for helping us to talk about and celebrate the wonderful women in our lives.
Yeah.
Well, let me give you your kudos before I go. I think what you guys are doing is awesome, and thank you for doing this. And you guys, you as you know, you're awesome at what you do. So have a great day and take care.
Thank you so
Thanks
much.
so much, Whitney. We'll see you.
Bye.
Well, Carla, thank you for joining us on Winging It. Who inspires you, motivates you?
So I, of course, have to start with my family. They
Mm-hmm.
are, my mom is such an inspiration to me, and my grandmother as well. So my grandmother was a special education teacher, and she would take me to her class. And I got to meet some of her students. I was like really, really young. So I would say it was my grandmother who really passed down the tradition of teaching in my family. And then my mom, she was a kindergarten teacher. And so, yeah, she worked in corporate America for a very long time. And then one day she said, you know what, I want to follow a different pathway. And she became a teacher. She went back to school and she got a degree in education, early childhood education, and she is a rock star.
Wow.
So my mother and my grandmother really have inspired me to become an educator.
To become a principal. So you didn't start as a principal.
So I started many years ago
Okay.
as a physics teacher.
What?
I taught physics for 18 years.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
So I started as a science teacher. And then actually, when I came to PALCS, it was my first principalship. So I've been in positions of leadership before. I was an assistant director of an adult reading program. I was the director of operations for a charter school in Philadelphia. So I had some leadership experience, but I was never a principal. So this is my first experience being a principal. And I've been at PALCS for this is my 6th year now. So time has flown by.
And I can only imagine that your mom and grandma, they must just be so proud of you.
Yeah, well, my mom is definitely super, super proud of all my achievements. And I always say she is one of my biggest cheerleaders, right behind my husband. I think he sort of outdoes himself now. I just received my EDD, which is a doctorate in education. So
That a girl.
I think every day, like he sees me, like I can just like walk past him. He's like, "There's Dr. Johnson." So he might be a bigger cheerleader than my mom right now. So he's very excited about the fact that I am now Dr. Johnson.
Congratulations. That's very exciting.
So I think even if we didn't even bring up women, we'd say like, who is the person that inspires you or motivates you? So many people say their mom because it's such a powerful, important role to play in general. And I know that you are a mom yourself. So how many kids do you have?
I have 2 children.
Wow.
I have a senior. She's graduating this year, and I'm super excited about that, as is she. And I have a 10-year-old.
Holy moly. So is she going into education?
She is.
That's amazing.
She is. She wants.
So clearly she's following in the family footsteps.
Yes, definitely. And I don't think that she will be teaching very long because she definitely aspires to be a school leader.
That is so cool. And I just am so grateful to have you be part of our staff and part of our work family and part of the amazing women that makes PALCS possible, but also that obviously you are part of this women network that is amazing. And not just from your grandmother, your mother, you, and now your daughter, but you're obviously kind of like this rock in the water with the ripple effect kind of person that is, you know, the type of person that I think a lot of us aspire to be like. So thank you so much for being an amazing woman in our lives. And thank you also for sharing the light of what inspires you and motivates you to be the amazing woman that you are.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you both. And you are both amazing as well.
No.
Hi, Zofia. Welcome to
Hi.
Winging It. What wonderful women are you here to tell us about today?
I'm here to acknowledge and recognize all of the moms that we have. I honestly, I had a lot of difficulty trying to figure out just one person that I would like to acknowledge during Women's History Month because there have been so many women in my life that have made an impact on me as well as my sister and my female cousins. So I wanted to acknowledge all the moms, whether they are moms of students, students who are moms, or grandmothers or aunts, kind of fill in the role of moms of the double and triple work that they've been doing since the pandemic. Because I know it's not been easy and there have been moments that have been extremely challenging. So I wanted to acknowledge them.
You know, talking about mothers, what kind of impact do you think that you have carried with you the most?
Being true to myself, remembering where my family comes from, the culture that I was raised in, as well as doing my best to basically kind of like acting like the glue. I've always tried to make sure that I'm the person, if I see something that is not being done or taken care of that could inconvenience other people, I jump right in and try to take care of that.
So you kind of take on a motherly role. And you have a sister, you said?
Yeah, I have a sister. When we lost our mom, because we were both so young, I was in my, early 20s. My sister was actually a teenager, so took over that whole role of making sure that the rest of our family was taken care of, that there was food on the table, that the house was clean, and picked up those responsibilities over time. And I think that we've not just done that in our home life, but also done it with friends we love.
That is incredible. And you are such an incredible example of a woman that we want to thank. And also that I personally look up to, especially at work. I just think you're phenomenal. And thank you for helping us to celebrate National Women's History Month.
No, anytime. Thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you.
Thanks, Zofia. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for watching Winging It.
And happy National Women's History Month.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.